to cloud. All right, so welcome to our weekly Dream Achievers Zoom call. I'm glad you're here with us. I'm sure there are other things you could have been doing. I actually was opening up graduation cards with my daughter Isabel, and I was like, crap, I gotta get back on that computer. So we had a graduation party on Saturday, and yesterday was just, I don't know, busy, and then she babysat today, and we had some time tonight. So anyway, I'll get back to that. But I cannot wait to talk to you about Brenda Steer and her Improving the Ask, how to get more leads. Did any of you watch it? Raise your hand. Angie, Lane, Rebecca, Carissa, did you get a chance to watch it? You did, Carissa. All right, super, super. Okay, well, before we dive into that, I just want to remind you about, they do have the August host incentive out, and it's the TS Favorites, the 5-meal kit. So when they get to a $700 party, they can get all of that for free. So it's a really nice incentive. Now, to remind you, in August 10th, I'm looking at my calendar, is when the new fall winter product is available to order for you as a consultant and for those of our clients. So everybody at the same time, August 10th. So, you know, in August, they can double dip. I don't know that there's a guarantee on the products, but usually for, you know, there's a couple weeks of overlap. So I would think that that would be the case as well. So any questions on that? No questions on the product? Okay. So Party Palooza, I think all of you here on this call are participating in that. And just to remind you, I sent that email out, or that little teaser on Facebook on our team page, that we're going to do a Zoom call every day as a team, and we're going to participate with Scarlett Eckholm's team. So we got some energy and excitement from them as well. And it basically is going to be like a little debrief. If for some reason you are not able to participate, still call in. Do you know what I mean? Because you'll catch the energy and excitement from the rest of us. So wanted to remind you about that. All right, because really, you guys, it's next week. It's next Thursday. Actually, this Thursday, raise your hand if you're going to participate in the Thursday night thing. I'm not raising my hand because I have a tasting party that I had scheduled, and I wasn't going to reschedule it. So this Thursday night on the 23rd at 7 p.m., I believe, Jill opens up with a little welcome, and then they're going to tour. I think they're going to go through HQ. So I would definitely participate if I wasn't in a tasting party. So that's this Thursday. And then it starts next Thursday. So most likely I will not have a call next Monday night. So because, you know, we all have a life to live, and we'll be together Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So, hey, Laura, glad you joined us. Okay, so you all watched Brenda Steer. So Brenda Steer is a social marketing strategist. She's the one that Tastefully Simple had hired to do like that one night online party. And I did that, but I'm now doing 4 nights of online parties, but she's really good. Do any of you have any comments before I kind of go in and share her 3 pillars, just as a good reminder? Anybody have any comments on it? Feedback? Angie, how about you?
I thought it was good. You know, some of the stuff, yeah. Just gotta be careful, don't get a little too into the cliche sales stuff, but I liked some of it. Like, you know, how you word your questions is important and things.
Yeah. How about you, Rebecca? Did you have any comments on that?
I just thought it was a really good review. It's nothing that I hadn't heard before, but just haven't thought about things like that in a while. And it is easier to, I guess, deal with yeses than nos, because I think no is where everybody gets stuck or stopped or fumbles around. And if you can just get them to say yes a few times, you know, that gets the checkout conversation moving in the right direction. So it's a good reminder. I think I'd heard most stuff before, but thinking about how you word questions is very important.
Great. Okay, thanks, Rebecca. How about you, Elaine? What did you think?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. I'm on mute on one of me.
Yeah, there's two of you.
Yeah, I don't know why. Anyway, I can't mute that other one either. So yeah, it was a good review
Yeah.
on rephrasing things in a more positive way.
Yeah. She's energetic. Okay. Thanks, Elaine.
Mhm.
Carissa, you're a little newer to Tastefully Simple, as well as you, Laura. I'm going to have you comment in a minute. Anything that stood out to you, Carissa?
I guess for me, I've kind of been, I'm sorry, my computer went totally wacko with my sound, so I had to move to my phone. But
Oh.
I think, I've been with Party Late and I've done some doTERRA stuff. So a lot of what she talked about was stuff that I've learned. But I think, like Rebecca said too, it's a good reminder. And I think what sticks out for me is discrete choices. So not giving them a lot of choices, like saying, okay, I have this date and this date available, which works best for you. And kind of not giving them a real, it sounds horrible, but not giving them too many options, but yet kind of, talking them into it too.
Oh no, I mean,
Yeah.
it just, I hear myself when I ask for bookings and I'm like, because I've done it for so many years, and you can't, like, would you be interested in having your own tasting party? And they might say, I don't know. The average consultant goes like, okay, and doesn't keep that conversation going. So, that's just a start. So when you say talk them into it, I totally get what you're saying. I like to refer to it as helping them make a decision, Carissa. But I know what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying. How about you, Laura? You're one of our newer team members, one of our younger chicas. What was did you get a chance to watch it?
Yeah, and similar to what you both just said, that like overcoming objections thing, like when people just say like, because I had started even doing like, well, I have this date or this date open, or even like, oh, I can do a 1 night or a 4-day party. Like, I had already started like narrowing the options more, but just yeah, it just made me realize kind of like what you were saying, Sherry, is like when they say like, oh, I don't know, or not right now, then like just thinking about that differently and being like, okay, well, how about I contact you on this date then, instead of like, okay, that's fine, I'm not gonna press you,
Right.
but I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna ask you when it's a good time.
Yep, no, and that's perfect, because I think, Laura, you and I have talked about this, or I know I've talked about it with others, but I still have an old-fashioned calendar, and I've got these little Post-it notes on the side just because I rip them off when I'm to that month, and those are the people either at a party. Oh yeah, there you go, Laura. At a party, or an online party, or I've reached out to them, I've talked to them, or private message, and they're like, now it's not a real good time, but I would do one in August, or whatever, so then I just have that as a reminder on how I connected with them, because that's right there. Those are the hot people. Those are the people that didn't say no, but just said, I'd rather do one in September. So then if you don't write it down, I'm sure you have a system, but that's what works for me. So
I have a question about that, and maybe you know and maybe you don't. But with them updating like the website, I'm sure we'll learn more about it at Palooza too. But I was just thinking about that because I mark in there like the last contacted date, like when you add them to your address book, or even when like they're hosting a party now, whatever, and it brings you into that address book, and it has those options like when you last contacted them, how you contacted them, and notes. But I'm just wondering, like, is there an easier way or not, like, so that, because I'm putting that in there, but I won't be reminded of that unless I physically go into my address book and like look through that every so often. And I don't know that there's like a way to like filter filter that as much. Like if you last contacted them on this date, and like I say, maybe there is and I just don't know it. But yeah, I'm curious to see if that will be one of the like improvements
Features.
made to that. Like right when you click on somebody, or like even in your list, it'll show like last contacted this date. So then you would be able to know, like see right there in your list,
Yeah.
like, oh, I need to contact this person, or whatever.
Well,
Or if you can
and
make a note.
Laura, I don't want to get you disappointed, but I think this first round, I know this first part of the updates is only the public website. So when they talk about it at Party Palooza, my HQ it will not be changed yet. They've been working on it, I feel like years, like a couple of years, but just so you know, what's gonna happen right after Party Palooza is the public website. So stay tuned to that. But in the meantime, you can just use the old fashioned technique. So, all right, so I just want to briefly, I'm not going to say word for word, but just to remind you what Brenda had to say. And I don't know if you remember in the beginning, she said, what is the biggest reasons consultants do not ask? Whether it's for bookings or leads or upsell. We're going to refer tonight though on bookings and leads. So what do you guys, do you remember what she said? What's the biggest reason consultants do not ask?
Don't want to be pushy.
Bingo. That's exactly right. You know, a team member might say, oh, I don't have the time. Or I don't know anybody. I don't know what to say. But really, I think that's a little bit of a smoke screen in a sense. It really is, they don't want to feel pushy. So do you guys have any advice on if you had a team member that told you that? What would you tell them? Anybody have any good ideas?
I totally can get why they feel that way, and sometimes I do too. But then I think of the hosts that get like an amazing amount of rewards, and that's actually helpful to them, especially in today's time where things are so expensive. So I guess I try and think of it. I am proud of the product and the service we offer them, and so it's not like I'm pushing them; it's giving them an opportunity.
Right. Oh, that's a great way to look at it, Angie. And I have to say, in all my years, I've never had anybody like chew me out or get mad at me. It's like, why did you make me do this? This was so dumb. Never, ever. It's always like, oh my gosh, this was so much fun. Thank you. Thank you. So a lot of times it's just getting over yourself. You know what I mean? It's just getting over yourself. And like Angie said, believing in the product, believing in the company, believing in the service. And then I'm just going to add, the more you do it, the easier it gets. I mean, and honestly, especially for me in the beginning of my career, I preferred to ask people I didn't know. Anybody else that way? It's like, I don't want to really ask my good friends or my family. I mean, unless it's my sister, it's like, you're going to do this. But, but you know what I mean? It's like, it was just always easier to ask, I thought, people I didn't know. But now, of course, that's changed. But anyway, the more you ask, the easier it gets. Okay, so the 3 pillars then are ask yes questions, offer discrete choices, prepare less objectionable offers. I mean, that sounds kind of like, well, what is she saying? But basically, you don't want to say, do you want to have a party? Because most of the time, either they'll say, I don't know, or no, thank you. There's different ways you could say it. She's, one of them I thought that was good is, oh my gosh, it would be super fun to have a party with you. I do them Sundays and Thursdays. What day would work best for you? Or you just need to say what, like Angie said, you don't want to be too scripty, but you want to say it like it sounds like it's coming from you. I mean, her first example was, I would love to book a party with you. Which date works best for you? So I don't know. I like to use the word fun a lot. It would really be fun if you would have a party. Or, I mean, does anybody else have anything else they'd like to share with the asking?
I can share one that's worked for me as far as like bookings off of a party. I usually just say like, hey, thanks for your order, or so I'll just use that example first. I have a couple different versions that I use, but one version is, hey, thanks for your order. If you ever want some free product, let me know and I can hook you up. And then if they're like, oh, that sounds awesome, then it's like, okay, let's get you on the books. or like,
Yep.
or they'll say like, oh yeah, and then I'll just follow up with that. Like I'll write it down and I'll follow up with them
Yeah.
later. And then another example then is if they haven't ordered or whatever, I'll say like, hey, what's on your wish list? And then they'll mention a couple things, and then it's like, okay, well, what if I could help you get those? And then that leads into the like, okay, let's put it on the books, like kind
Sure.
of thing. But it's like maybe not, but I feel like they kind of know, like when you say like, oh, I can get you that for free, like they kind of know that it's going to be a party.
Yeah.
But I just feel like that makes it feel a little bit less like scripty or like a little bit more informal to
Sure.
just not call it a party, but call it. And even with my parties, I haven't been calling them like so-and-so's Tastely Simple Party. I've been calling them like this last one I did, we had a campfire cookout because that was the theme, or get grilling with so-and-so.
Sure.
And so I didn't call them like a Tastely Simple Party, but it was like, this is what we're doing and this is the theme, and just kind of focusing it around that, if that makes sense.
Yep. Awesome. Awesome. Great examples, Laura. Okay, so, and I'm going to get into discrete choices, which Laura covered a little bit, but as far as potential leads, you know, hopefully, and I have to tell myself, okay, what have I done? I ask myself, what have I done this last week to ask people to join my team? And there's a lot of times that I go, nothing. So it has to be a part of what you're doing. I mean, even me, I've done this for, 22 years, 23 years. I have to continually tell myself, you know, remember, it's riding that bike. You've got the pedal of sales, the pedal of sponsoring, and that bike is going to go a lot better when you're doing both. So you just have to remind yourself, you got to ask people, right? I mean, sometimes you get a little gift, but mainly you got to ask. And rather than saying, you know, would you be interested in information on joining my team? They're like, no. I'm like, what are you saying? You know, you could, she said it this way. I know some of you make it does sound kind of whatever, but you know, Rebecca, you'd be great at this. Doing what I do, I would love to send you some information. Should I email you or no, what is your current email? You know, at least they're not saying no, they're not saying yes, but you can start that conversation. So if you could pick something out, I mean, especially there are people that are not going to come to you unless you go to them. You know what I'm saying? And if you really honestly think they'd be great at this, then it just comes out naturally. Like, Rebecca, you'd be great at this. I'd love to send you some information. Is this your current email? And most likely and then you would say it, she's going to say yes, and then you send it to her, and then you follow up, so you're at least starting that conversation, you know, rather than just saying, would you be interested in joining my team? So you know what I mean, right?
I think too with that, like the takeaway that I got, but I'm also getting from like this conversation now is like, with all of the questions, like, so we were talking about like overcoming objections or like not accepting the no or whatever, like keeping the conversation going. It's like, don't ask, if you don't want to hear a no, don't ask them a yes or no question.
Right.
Like you just said, like, what's your email or what date works for you?
Right.
Like you're kind of just telling them to do it. Like somebody else said, like you're not giving them the option to say no. You're framing it differently so that
Right.
their only options are a version of yes.
Yeah, that's right, Laura. Very good, very good. Okay, so then moving on to the discrete choices, which is what Laura was talking about too. But I know I was private messaging, and my calendar does not look like how I want it to look. So I need to get on the private message or the texting or the phone calling bandwagon. And I would simply say, oh my gosh, Laura, wouldn't it be fun for you to have an August party? I'm doing online parties the week of, and I give the date. So I like to do, Tuesday through Friday. So I would say, could you do August 4th through the 7th, the 11th through the 14th, or the 18th through the 21st? And then they usually just pick one. I mean, it really is that easy. So that's offering, you know, or if you do a one-night party, the 13th, 14th, or 18th, or whatever you like to do. But I'm saying, hey, wouldn't it be fun, you know, Laura, to do a Tastefully Simple party in August? You can double dip, or however you want to say it. I just use fun, you know, would the 4th through the 10th, whatever, you know what I'm saying. I give them 3 choices. And a lot of times, if they're interested, they'll come back and say, oh, I'll take this one. Or they'll come back and say, you know, now is not a really good time. And then I would say, well, what month would be? I'll pencil you in and I'll connect with you in October or whatever. Or if you know the person, I mean, or you feel comfortable, like I already have 4 bookings in October. The green is parties, in-home parties. So you can book parties now. I mean, the cool thing about doing that, I do have an in-home party on Thursday, like I was telling you, is they're going to get the date they want. I also have online parties booked. So I guess what I'm saying to you in that is don't be afraid to book out. I'm sure there are others on the phone that are on the Zoom call that do that. Okay. So pillar 3 is prepare less objectionable offer. So if you are asking for a booking and they're like, you know, I just not right now. She kind of gave 3 examples and she used the word no problem. It's like, no problem. You know, if you're asking for a tasting party, what about a Facebook party? And it's like, you'd say, no problem. You know, I could just send you some catalogs. You could pass them around work or whatever. And then, you know, no problem. If you have a Facebook group, you could say, I'd love to stay connected and add you to my Facebook VIP group. Or I would love, if you don't have a VIP group, but you know, you guys all here on this phone, on the Zoom, I think do TS Connected. So your Tastefully Simple is sending out emails for you. So if they're like, no, thank you, no problem, but I want to make sure I have your current email because Tastefully Simple sends out a lot of great recipes and sometimes even coupons or codes. So can I make sure I have your correct email? Sure. You know, so you're creating that relationship, you're offering great customer service. So to wrap it up, and then I'll just open it up for any discussion. She said, how you ask for business will turn you from good to great. You know, so the biggest thing is use some of these tips and then you just need to get out there and do it. And, you know, I don't know who I talked to recently, but I had asked doing a coaching call and I said, how's it going booking parties? And she said, like, not really good. I go, well, what do you mean? How many people have you talked to? Like 4 or 8. And I'm like, you know what? That's a great start, but you gotta have like 50 people, or, you know, you gotta keep asking, and it's a numbers game, and there's business out there, but you gotta keep asking. So 4 and 8 and 10, that's just a great start. So I'm gonna open it up. We got 4 minutes left here. Comments, questions, who's got any? And Twyla, welcome. And Lisa, welcome.
Sherry, I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, you've mentioned a couple times about double dipping in August. So what are you talking about? Because I don't know if I think I'm behind on emails or.
No, there's no apologies needed. So August 10th is when we can order the new fall winter product as a client, as a consultant, and as a client. So for the month of August, so August 10th through the end of August, host clients can order from both catalogs.
Okay.
So we call it double dipping. I mean, so from the 10th till at least I'm going to say the 25th, most likely till the end of the month, there'll be product available from both catalogs.
Okay.
Some people like that. Some people don't because it's too overwhelming. But I tell you what, I always tell my host, you book a party in August or September, you are going to get a lot of bookings. And we're going to get you to 500. So you're going to you can get up to 5 half price items. I promise you're going to get people that are you're going to get more bookings in August in the beginning of September, because everybody does want to do fall parties. Everybody will do a party all year round. I promise you. But yes, it is easier in the fall. It just is.
And when do the books come available?
August 10th.
So we can order the books August 10th, and then we can order from that book and the spring book, both products.
Yep.
Okay.
So August, I mean, you're registered for nationals, right, Carissa? Party Palooza. So depending on what level you're at, if you're at the 99 or 199, you will get either one catalog, I think at the 99, you'll get a stack of catalogs at 199, you'll get some of the products. If you're at 49, I don't think they even send you a catalog, which is silly. But you'll get to see everything. But yeah, we can't, none of us will be able to order till August 10th. But so like if I have a party, I have a tasting party on August 13th. So 3 days after the new line comes out. Her party food kit is not going to be a fall winter. I'm not going to rush around like a crazy lunatic. She will have a spring summer party food kit, and we'll talk about that. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have fall winter catalogs with me and use it as a booking tool, Carissa. I'm not even going to talk about the fall winter products, but I will use it as a booking tool. Can they order from it? Of course they can. But I want to try to book as many parties. Well, we'll use a party food kit using the fall winter. So, you know, I'll be strategic about that. Make sense? Okay. So very good question. I'm glad you asked. There's never ever any dumb questions. So good to clarify, Carissa. Anybody else? Comments, questions? All right. Well, then I'm just going to wrap it up with this. Remind you about the Zoom calls. Check your email. It's going to be the same click. It's the same, my Zoom number. And we've invited Scarlett Ekholm and her team. So we'll have some of those people to get excited together. And, you know, we're supposed to, if you signed up by July or June 30th, we're supposed to have that box of goods before conference. So that'll be fun to see what we're going to be offering. And the Twisty Grams are back in stock in case you didn't see that.
Our conference stuff has a postage anyway. It's in our order listing.
It is.
It is. I just noticed. I'm like, what did I order?
Angie.
Yeah. So that's cool.
Oh, and John O'Leary, I don't know if you guys have had a chance to look at it, but I was on a diamond call on Thursday and one of the people had to cancel. So Jill called a favor. John O'Leary is going to be one of our keynote speakers. And for those of you that have been around, Angie, did you ever hear him?
I can't remember if I did or if that was one I had missed.
Okay, Rebecca
Yeah.
did. And Elaine, I'm sure you did. And probably Twyla and Lisa. He spoke at Executive Retreat, Leadership, and a national conference. He's the young man that was burnt almost 100% of his body. But he's he's just the nicest guy and has great things to offer. So he'll be one of our keynote speakers. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, you guys, I'm going to end the recording. I will